In the episode number 117 of the A.S.A.P Tech News, we talk about the new ASRock Xenon dedicated motherboard, Antec has a new PC case, EK Waterblock launches a Mini-ITX waterblock, and Biostar announces a new motherboard. We start with ASRock and the brand new W790 WS motherboard, a motherboard designed to work with the new Intel Xeon W2400 and W3400 series processors. This motherboard has a lot of features going for it, but the highlight is the VRM system, as it uses no less than 22 phases in a 20+2 phase configuration. The socket used for these CPUs is the Intel LGA 4677, and it is compatible with the Intel Xeon W3400 and W2400 series processors. Other features of this motherboard include large heatsinks that sport a nickel-plated copper heat pipe for VRM cooling and PCI-Express expansion slots, among other things. Included with this motherboard there is a quad M.2 expansion card that allows you to install upwards of 4 M.2 SSDs in a PCIe 5.0 expansion slot. This expansion card also uses 2 small fans for the active cooling of the installed SSDs. The pricing of this motherboard is not yet known, but given the history of professional-grade motherboards, this thing will not be cheap for sure. Next, Biostar has announced a new LGA 1700 motherboard, the B760T Silver. This new motherboard uses the Mini-ITX form factor and supports Intel 12th and 13th generation processors thanks to its B760 chipset. The B760T Silver supports DDR5 RAM memory with a frequency of 6400 MHz and above, and a maximum of 64 GB of RAM memory. On the PCI-Express side of things, this motherboard has a single PCIe 5.0x16 slot and a single PCIe 4.0 M.2 socket. For connectivity, we have support for Intel Wi-Fi 6E, and that's about it, as the integrated Internet controller is made by Realtek and is the model RTL8125B. Unfortunately, the pricing of this motherboard is not yet available. We continue with EK Waterblocks, which has announced their new Mini-ITX CPU waterblock, a waterblock designed to work especially with the Asus ROG Strix Z790i gaming motherboard. The EK Quantum Momentum 2 Strix Z790i gaming DRGB Plexi uses a fully compatible RGB system, compatible with the Asus Aura Sync RGB control that is. This block is not only for the CPU but also for the VRM of the motherboard, hence the name Monoblock. The main features of this monoblock are the high flow design, which allows the usage of slower and quieter pumps for the same cooling performance, and the EK Velocity 2 cooling engine. The base plate is made from nickel-plated copper and the top part is made from acrylic to allow the RGB LEDs to shine through. And finally, Antec releases a new E-ATX case, the P20 series. This new case series is designed from the ground up to accommodate extended ATX motherboards, or E-ATX for short. There are 2 variants already available, with some small differences between them. The P20C and the P20CE are essentially the same case, but one has a glass side panel while the other has a solid metal panel. As for the front, the case has pre-installed 3 120mm fans that act as the intake of the case, while the rest of the case is pretty much empty. For some reason, Antec decided that only intake fans will be included with this case. Other features of the P20 case include a power supply cover, removable dust filters, a mesh front panel for a better intake, and USB Type-C 3.2 Gen 2 front panel ports. When we talk about the prices, the P20C is available for $120 while the P20E is available for $115. And this is the end of the episode number 117 of the A.S.A.P Tech News, one of the few tech news series which aims to deliver you the news as fast as possible for your convenience.